So we are going to be jumping into round number 1 right about now. Unnamed are going to start on the attack, and it is going to be on Epsilon to start out on the defense. CCTV and Cash Room is going to be the arena for this first round. And I think we're going to be looking at maybe a little bit of a 6-pick out there from Epsilon. I would maybe like to see somebody jumping on that Echo as it is available. Although Echo, perhaps, maybe they're seeing that as it has more value downstairs in Arsenal. We will have to see. Madman opting for the Valkyrie there, so they are going to have that level of information. Kendry, very undecided there. He went from Blitz to Blackbeard to Ash. Settled on the IQ finally, and Epsilon there not using their 6 pick. So, you know, even if you're just going to use it and change onto the same operator, sometimes that can be good to, you know, debate out the enemy team a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. It's all about those mind games with the 6th pick, without a doubt. So, as you said, X, we're going to be seeing the CCTV cash hold here. We've got Epsilon on the defence, first of all. Definite utility being applied there to Garage. We know the importance of holding Garage in many circumstances. Although, I think it's fair to say, we've certainly been seeing... not necessarily frequently, but we've definitely been seeing more use of a bedroom and construction side push lately, and just sort of forgoing that Garage, especially with Class taken off the board. It can be pretty tricky to get in there. You tend to have a Legion or a Dock up on the catwalk, and when the downstairs is held, it can be very, very difficult, I think, to push in there. So a lot of teams opt in for that construction side push.
Drones activated.
Yeah, and I really like to play a Dock or similar on the catwalk because, you know, if you play the Dock, you can even get yourself back up if you do get naded out, or if you do get downed and they're not able to finish you off because of the sort of railings, if you will, on that catwalk. So it can be a very powerful position, but we're going to see a very early opening kill there from Jaeger. That's going to be PX taking down Jugger. So taking down Buck. Now that's going to be a little bit of an oversight there from Jugger. He's going to be really wanting to look to get himself underneath the site, open up the floor, and really stop that bandit trick from being able to go off, especially as he's got grenades as well. So having seen that as coming out as the first pick, and the second one there from Madman with an aggressive run out as Valkyrie, making full use of those Valkyrie cameras. That's going to take out the IQ. So opening up this east wall is now going to be very, very difficult for the side of Epsilon. They do have Thatcher, who is going to be able to try and destroy any of those bandit batteries, but I think the safer option at this point is to switch the push up and try and come through construction, as you were saying.
Yeah, I totally agree with you now, X, especially with those numbers being depleted, and I think that's something that Unnamed are recognising at this point. Safety is more than definitely going to be lying on the bedroom and construction side. Get yourself in there. There's a reinforced wall that you can open that can still make things an absolute nightmare in the site. It just means you're pushing into cash rather than CCTV, and I think that's going to be something that they're probably looking to do. We've still got 5 alive on the Epsilon side in a minute 20. That being said, it looks like the east wall is going to be opened up by that Hibana, so that's going to give Noera just some lines of sight in there. He's got a man out on Garage catwalk, but I don't think they're going to come together as it stands. The Legion playing very carefully there. Shermy just holding himself out of that line of sight. And Noera's going to play this patiently. Still a minute to go, and he's just going to be waiting and seeing if he can get a view onto anybody rotating in sight. But that said, Epsilon know that they don't need to rotate. They don't need to peek at this point. They're against 3 men, and Unnamed have it all to do. That being said, as predicted, we've got Unnamed in there in construction. Thermite just trying to bait out that attention as he goes to place his charge on the wall. I think he will see it through this time and get it opened into cash. That's exactly what he was waiting for. The Roma downstairs tossing up the C4, and Tank Ninjas with a beautiful shot to take it out of midair. So that's going to be that utility gone, and that's maybe going to be Madman heading back to site, but Tank Ninjas will push in. Blue will get one, Astro will get a second, Shermy will finish things off. Perfect round for Epsilon to get things started.
Flawless round there from Epsilon. You can just see they had a very clear idea in how they were hold all of those key areas. The impact trick there from Smoke was perfect. The C4 toss came from beneath, and it was all the distraction that was needed for the impact trick to be able to go off effectively. And then all of a sudden, Tank was just left to push in through the smoke and came face to face with the infamous SAS shotgun, which we do see clutching a lot of rounds. So not only a flawless round, but a team ace as well. So I think Epsilon's got to be pretty happy with that moving into round number 2. They are going to take us down to Church and Arsenal. and we are going to see another 6 pick there from Kendry, this time switching off the IQ and opting for the Zephyr. Still no change in the lineup from Epsilon. It did work very, very well for them down, up in CCTV Cash, choosing to stay the same lineup yet again, which at this point I've not really got too much of a problem with. They've obviously got the operators that they need. I think they're running smoke with impacts, which enhances their ability to be able to impact trick things like Kitchen Hatch and Church Wall, and it's really that's going to, you know, really start to slow the team down, because despite the fact that we're seeing 2 hard breaches on the side of Unnamed, if you're going to lose a lot of that ability, you know, a lot of that utility to impact tricking, it doesn't really mean all that much when when you're trying to actually get things open and gain control of the map.
5 seconds to go.
No, I think what I like to see there from Epsilon last round was just the difference in their approach to the round. We had the first minute or so where they were just really aggressive, using those vault cams, getting the runouts, putting all that information to good use, and then we saw them after getting those 2 early kills, recognise that they had a good advantage at that point, and they just fell back to site, they held their angles, and the aggression dropped off, and they just forced Unnamed to push into site. Now, looking towards round number 2, we're going to be going on to the church objective, and we're going to see Tank Ninjas getting that construction wall into Dirt Tunnel open up very, very early. So that's going to apply some early pressure onto site. They'll no doubt be aware that that has been opened, and it just makes it difficult. It just means, as defenders, you've got to have one eye on that Dirt Tunnel at all times. It could be that they've got a Valkyrie cam in there, so that's something that could help them. Shermie may well have put a goo mine in there, so they'll know if anybody's approaching. But that being said, they do have the Thatcher of Cactus, so he could well get in there and just clear out any of that sort of utility. We're going to see a push onto blue now. Jugger just moving forward to those blue stairs. Shots will start raining down, but the 2 players, Madman and Shermie, there just getting themselves to the safe, or at least moderate safety of blue, and the hatch is going to be opened in stock as well. So that's going to start putting some real pressure into blue now, which is what I like to see. Basically, they're forming an attack from a number of angles here are Unnamed. They've got the Dirt Tunnel as an option, and they've got blue as an option now, but Jugger will trade out with Shermie as he just manages to release that nade before getting shot. That was a fantastic little exchange there from the hatch. That's actually going to clear blue out for Unnamed now, so it's time to start getting a mana 2 down there and just apply a little bit of pressure while the kitchen hatch gets dropped.
And it looks as though that kitchen hatch will be open successfully. No impact trick there coming out. Madman will, however, grab a kill over onto Kendry, so that's going to be the Zephyr out of action. PX very, very low on health. Warbang comes through. He does manage to land a couple of shots, but it isn't enough to get the finishing blow onto Tank Ninjas. Tank just going to rotate back up. I think he was probably going down to maybe open up the church wall. He's had to go upstairs to retrieve Diffuser. Meanwhile, Noah has made his way over into blue and on into the site. Doesn't quite manage to get the kill there over onto Bandit. We're going to pick up a beautiful double. One with the SMG, one with the shotgun. Last man left standing is going to be Cactus in Dirt Tunnel. He aggressively pushes out and finds the head, making it a 1 versus 1. Not able to find the second headshot as Astro, holding the angle, is going to come through clutch for his team, taking that second round for Epsilon as well. But it certainly could have gone either way.
How about the timing on that aggression from Cactus? That was a great decision. As soon as he saw that Toxic Babe tossed into the Dirt Tunnel, he knew exactly what was coming next. He knew that smoke would be off his gun whilst he tried to activate that Toxic Babe. So he just rushed in and got the kill there. Fantastic plays from Cactus, but unfortunately it was just a little bit too little too late, as he then got mopped up in the site, and that will be the second round going in favour of Epsilon. So we're going to see Epsilon now moving up to their 3rd choice site, being that they've won the first 2. We are, of course, on that 2-round rotation as well here in CCS. So once you've won a location, you have to play in 2 others, or at least 2 other rounds before you can head back there. So they're going to be in the gym and bedroom this time. I'm seeing a castle, so I'm going to guess with the Bandit of Astro, there's going to be some attention paid to Hot Tub Wall. I would expect to see possibly Gym Door castled off as well, just to provide that double layer of protection, but at least the gym bedroom, which they've done. I mean, they've got an Ash and a Zephyr on the side of Unnamed, so those castles are going to be reasonably easy to deal with, but it just affords Bandit that little bit of extra time to keep that Hot Tub Wall closed.
Astro will be able to do his best there to be able to bandit trick. No nades on the side of Unnamed. There's a nade often through the drone hole just next to that hot tub wall is enough to be able to push out a bandit that is tricking, or even a Capitao, as it can be a tricky one to get open, but I think that the attackers have got all the utility they need at their disposal to be able to open that. It's just if they're going to be able to get in a position to apply it. They are going to want to take CCTV control. That is then going to allow them to be able to operate pretty safely out on the balcony outside of gym bedroom and gym window and bedroom window, as Tank Ninja's there just raining some shots in. Early kill going to come out again. We are seeing a lot of very early kills in these games. Shermie then going to be taken out by Noah and not lost all too much health in that engagement. Jugger peeking out onto the top of Cash stairs. So we've got a pixel peak being held. So this cash control is really, really important. I do like that Unnamed are trying to take this very early on. PX there, you can see he's just in that horrible pixel peak spot, just as the railings don't quite meet the floor. Just about halfway down that second set of the stairs, you're able to hold that nice angle, which is going to make it really difficult for anybody on Unnamed to vault in through the window. The barbed wire that's next to the soft wall as well is going to make it a bit more difficult to get in through the soft wall. Astro is going to grab that kill over onto Cactus, but get traded out straight away by Tank Ninja. And another kill is going to come through from Noah, so his second kill of the round over onto Madman 4 versus 2. We've got to be looking good this time for Unnamed to try and move forward and clutch out this round. The CCTV control has been gained. Bit of an engagement going to come through there. PX is going to get the down over onto Jugger as the feared. Now Jugger has got a decision. He can choose to withstand or get revived. If PX pushes, he would have got both of those, but no, he's going to down Noah instead. And the kill going to come out from Kendrew. In the meanwhile, Kendrew then going to move through and cut down PX. PX was pretty pinned at that moment in time, but did a great job of staving off that attack over on the cash side. And if Kendrew hadn't landed his shots, it could have gone a different way. So a very close round there, much quicker than the rounds that we've seen previously, but it is going to be a round nonetheless for Unnamed.
Great stuff from Unnamed there. They took some early dominance over Garage, and as you said, just use that then as a beachhead to get themselves into cash room and really start, reining in a few kills, and ultimately managed to get the win on kills. They were in a position to start getting the diffuser down. I think we saw that happening towards the end of the round, but it did just come down to man count. So that's going to lead us into round number 4. Unnamed taking their first round there, so it's now going to be a question of whether they can just use that to start building a little bit of momentum. It's, start hitting a few of those shots, which they've just done in that last round, and things can, really swing quite quickly. But we're going to be heading now back to CCTV and Cash. So we saw this in the first round. Epsilon did very well, but they did use some very early aggression to get a couple of kills on the board, and that's the key thing here is, have Unnamed learned from that? Are they going to avoid those runouts? Are they going to avoid those early peaks and keep themselves alive a little bit later into the round for when they do get those walls open?
I think an observation that I kind of want to make is that last round we saw it come heavily down to gunfighting and angles being held and trades that were established and crossfires and people working well as a team, and that is something that we did see from Unnamed. They were able to get the kills when it mattered. The other two rounds that we've seen, CCTV and Arsenal, have both come down a little bit more on the, further on the strat side of things, a bit more strat heavy in the way that Epsilon is choosing to hold certain walls with impact tricking, in the way that they're choosing to, deploy the utility, not peek all that much. So is it a case that Epsilon are a little bit better prepped in what they want to do, and they've got some very clear, defined ways that they're looking to hold certain sites, being CCTV and Arsenal, and a site like Bedroom, they're just going to give it a go, but it's almost a bit of a breather site, and they've not quite got a good idea of what they want to do on that. Saying that, Kendrew is going to grab a very early kill there over onto PX, so kind of refreshing to see Clubhouse play out in this way, because sometimes it can be a bit of a bloodbath in those final few seconds. So see early picks in pretty much every round, sort of the first 30 seconds is always a good thing. Madman just narrowly missing out on that run out. I think IQ spotted the camera and he did choose not to peek that. They are in the man deficit currently, so don't want to lay too much aggression out there. But it would have been a very nice little run-out kill there from the Valk. Jugger is, however, going to clean Madman up. 5 versus 3. Can Epsilon hold off this attack? The Ash charge goes off from beneath. It is going to take off one of the bandit batteries. Astro not really in a position to replace that battery. And he's going to retreat back into sight.
Yeah, a great start from Epsilon. I love what they did there. Kendrew actually breached into Dirt Tunnel. That's how he got in and got that first kill to start things moving and clearing Garage out. And what an unusual approach on this site to go in through the basement level and then get yourself up those blue stairs near Kennel and start attacking from there. That was an inspired move from Kendrew. Absolutely great stuff. And that leaves Epsilon now 5 versus 2. But as I say, that'll be 5 versus 4, 4 versus 1 as Jugger trades out that kill from Astro onto Noera. So that's going to leave Epsilon in a difficult position now. Blur 1 versus 4 with it all to do. The diffuser was going down. He had to make a challenge. Kendrew's there to mop it up. Once again, you commented on it last round, X, something that Unnamed did very well, and that was just establishing those crossfires, establishing those angles, holding the lines of sight into the late round, and Kendrew there benefiting from that, picking up that final kill.
And does look like we've got a game on our hands now. 2 rounds apiece for both of these teams. And it is going to be on Epsilon to try and break this stride that Unnamed have begun to establish. They've done very well in the previous 2 rounds at taking over that control and really sort of, you know, grabbing a bit of control of the game in general and how it's actually playing out. It now is playing pretty heavily in their favor, and it is because of their adaptation and the things that they are able to do. Epsilon just looking a tad bit lost at this moment in time. I'm going to choose to go back up to CCTV room and cash and maybe play things a little bit differently. But I've seen Shermie come out over on the dock, so I'm anticipating him to play over in garage as that dock ACOG and the stim pistol ability is something that is very handy on top of that catwalk as you are able to pick yourself up if you do get naded out. No nades on the side of the attackers, but you are also able to pick yourself up if you just get downed and they can't finish you off because you've got the protection of the railing. So nice little bit of adaptation there from Shermie. It's a good pick, I think, and it could just force them to play a little bit further onto site, as that's something that maybe won them the first round, is the fact that they didn't, well, they got an early pick, but then they didn't punt all that much after they got that man advantage. So how are Unnamed going to be able to deal with this?
Yeah, I think you're right there. The difference between those 2 rounds and who they've gone to is who has picked up those first couple of early kills, who's the aggression benefited. First round it was Epsilon, couple of peaks and jump outs, and you know that stood them in good stead. 5 versus 3. This time we saw Kendrew breaching in through the dirt tunnel, getting himself quickly into a position to challenge Garage, and that paid dividends. So yeah, this site so far between these 2 teams has been all about that early aggression. Now it looks like we're going to have a bit of an east wall push here. We've certainly got 3 operators from Unnamed out there, including the hard breachers, so I'm sure they're going to be looking to get that east wall open. We do also have an Unnamed operator out on the west roof as well, looking to hold a line of sight through that single CCTV window and just see if they can pick anybody up on the rotate. Tank Ninjas for the time being, and just holding it patient, playing through the drone hole, seeing if they can take any cheeky hit points off as the defender rotates around the site, but I don't think he'll get any joy as of yet, as we've got 4 hit points on both teams across the board. 2 minutes to go, and certainly both teams seem to have acknowledged that the aggressors have come out on top, and neither of them want to take those early losses either. Saying early losses, we have Jugger coming in with the first kill onto Blur, and that's a big one. Smoke off the board.
Yeah, much slower round. I think these players have both seen the value in just trying to slow things down a little bit. But you can see there, we do lose Blur early on. So no more late denial for the smokes, which do get more valuable the longer the round ticks down. East wall now being opened within the first half-ish of the round. So it is a little bit slower than usual, and that was more down to the way that Epsilon were able to hold that as you know, Unnamed kind of got it open without losing anyone and with taking a life with them as well. So never too much of a bad thing. Not a lot of side control going on in B, but it is going to be a very difficult place to sit now as a defender, and especially difficult to try and rotate yourself into a position to be able to play over in there. Cactus doing a bit of drone work. A couple of barricades downstairs. Seems like something very simple, but it really could slow Unnamed down in these dying few seconds. Shermie going to come out with a kill as Doc on the catwalk with that ACOG. His location is going to be known, and he is going to not take that death. PX is actually going to grab that one onto Jugger and save Shermie's life, but not for long, because Noah is going to come through with the refrag, making that 3 versus 3 with 30 seconds left to go.
Epsilon now just really holding on tight to this defence. I like what I see. They've played very patiently. They've almost allowed Unnamed to have that space because they haven't really done anything with it. Noera, though, moving in and getting a good headshot onto PX to open things up. 12 seconds to go. Cactus moves in with the kill onto Astro. That leaves Madman in a 1 versus 2. He's pinned in the garage now. He's going to have to move back to this rotate. Noera starts getting the diffuser down, but it won't be needed as Cactus picks up that final headshot on to Madman. I felt like Unnamed were in charge for a lot of that round. They got the east wall open and they did a number of good things, but I was just wondering whether things had stalled out for them. It's something that we see so often on a good attack, is that everything slows down. I think you commented, X, that there wasn't much site control over B from the attackers, and it just seemed like they were playing on the periphery a little bit, but they left that execute until pretty late in the round. Epsilon were looking good to defend it, but some good gun skill has won the day there for Unnamed.
Unnamed definitely did a great job of, taking the time with that one. Getting the opening kill was big. I think it was Jugger from the window managing to pick off Blur. It is going to be time now for Epsilon to try a different site. They have been unsuccessful in CCTV twice now. And with this being round 6, this is the last round as the sides currently sit. After this round, we will of course switch over, so the attackers will swap over onto defense. And as a defender, I really don't think you want to be coming out as Clubhouse 4-2 down. Clubhouse does tend to swing the way of the defenders in terms of win rate percentages. So I think Epsilon really got to be fighting to come out of this 3-3, because coming out of that 4-2, it's going to be very tough on their attacks to be able to drag that round count back and to be able to bring this victory home. But the side of Unnamed are going to be looking pretty good for themselves. They're going to be very happy going up 3-2 on Clubhouse, and I'm sure that they're going to be looking to make it 4-2 before the sides switch around. A little observation from Unnamed: they've really not changed their operating. From Epsilon, they've really not changed their operating lineup all that much at all. We've not seen an echo. I'm not sure the echo is necessarily going to be your answer, because I think that the guns, the way the gunfights have been playing out, they've been a little bit quick in those final few seconds, and Echo doesn't really do all too much when the gunfight is happening right at your doorstep. Echo can be more useful, trying to deny plants and assisting roamers and things like that. But I'd really like to see just sort of a different information gathering tool really on the side of Epsilon. I'm not sure about the Valkyrie. I think there's a lot of value in Valkyrie, but I've not seen that much C4 action, and usually you'd be expecting to see a little bit more C4 action. As Madman, the impact trick was not prepped, and that's going to mean that they're going to lose Kitchen Hatch very, very early on indeed, with inside the first 50 seconds. It's now going to make Arsenal a very difficult place to sit.
Smoke utility being used very, very early there with this early push into Dirt Tunnel. 2 minutes on the clock still, and we already have Toxic Babes being expended. He has 2 remaining to hold Dirt Tunnel, but that's only going to afford him around 20 seconds, so he really does need to hold on to them for as long as he can. Blur is going to hold himself a tight angle here. He's got the shotgun. He's certainly not going to be an easy target. He takes out the drone of Kendrew, but that may well force him to move, and a great kill comes in from Tank Ninjas there onto Madman, followed by Noera onto Astro. So that's going to leave us 5 versus 3, and that is putting the Kitchen Hatch to excellent use. We still have Blur down here in Dirt Tunnel trying to hold things out. He's going to suffer the lifeline of Zafira, and here comes the push, and perfect it is. Jugger gets the kill onto Blur, takes the smoke out of Dirt Tunnel, but Shermie will fight back. Traded out by Kendrew, however. That leaves PX all alone, and he's now 1 versus 3 after getting 1 onto Noera. We will see Tank starting to get that diffuser down. PX on the Jaeger, he's got the gun to do it, but unfortunately he doesn't have the hit points as he steps around the corner, and Tank gets the headshot to clean things up.
Brilliant round there from Unnamed. I really enjoy how they pushed Dirt Tunnel, even though there was 2 players in there. Because of the early control they'd taken over Kitchen Hatch, it just left the players of Epsilon with really nowhere to go, because you saw as soon as Valkyrie rotated out, I think it was Madman playing on the Valkyrie. As soon as Madman rotated out, that was it. He got domed from the hatch. Blur, very difficult position to play. Zafia's lifelines were used very, very well indeed. And that dirt tunnel really, really worked. I was looking at it in the first couple of seconds and I was thinking, if you're going to push dirt, it'd be nice to bring a shield. Shield can, really gain you a lot of ground there. But they didn't need it. They just had the guns and they were able to grab the kills. Another really, really enthusing round from Unnamed. And we are going to see something that we've been asking for a little bit. The Echo. Tank Ninja's going to bring out the Echo for us as we go down to Church and Arsenal for Unnamed's first defensive round.
Your bombs from being
very interesting to see that Echo brought out, especially seeing as it's the other team that have done it. We've had Epsilon come forward and unfortunately lose their defensive round 4-2 there. And the Echo was something that you picked up on a couple of times, X. That potential A for information, but B for plant deniability as well. We haven't seen any I'm not sure if we've seen the diffuser go down or not. I think we might have seen it go down once, but if it has, it certainly hasn't been needed. Let's say if it has gone down, the kills have finished the round within a matter of seconds after that. So plant deniability not necessarily been too important so far, but it's going to be interesting just to see that different defensive style coming out from Unnamed that is utilising the Echo and see if they get any more joy than they did with the Valkyrie. I mean, at the end of the day, Valkyrie's got 3 cams. Echo can still provide 2 for you, even if that's the only thing that you're using him for. If you do find yourself in a plant situation, then you've got the option of the deniability. So we're going to see maybe a little bit more of a roam presence here as well. We've got the pulse out on the roam at the minute with Jugger. Unfortunately, we are going to lose Madman from this round, but as it has started, we will play it out to a finish. But that could be very bad timing. Jugger on that roam gets the first kill onto Blur, and that's Capito off the board. What about that, X?
A lot of utility to lose early on. Blur not really having the best of games so far. Does seem to be finding himself on the wrong end of early first blood, and he's going to leave as well. So we've lost Astro and Blur at this point, and that's going to make things all the more difficult for the remaining players left on Epsilon. And I don't know why they wouldn't just stay in and maybe watch cams or watch that drone, unless they both have disconnected, which would be terribly unfortunate indeed. You can see there Blur has returned. So if we can get Astro in as well, we won't have to suffer a rehost, but I'm sure we will get it figured out. Much slower as you would expect, seeing as Epsilon do only have 3, but they've still got a good 3. They've got Thermite, they've got Thatcher, and they've also got a Spear, so they should be able to go with the Yokai drones. They should be able to get a couple of things open. Bar hatch there getting opened as well. That's going to allow some sort of a line of sight or a drop onto site. Madman's going to be playing on top of the hatch. Got PX pushing double door. Madman's going to drop. Maybe you're going to see a bit more aggression here from the Epsilon, as they are at a bit of a deficit here. Jeremy is going to grab that kill over onto Kendu, trying to level that man count out ever so slightly. Shots are going to come in from Madman, and he is going to get about 25 or 30 or so hit points left remaining. Jugger only on a sliver of health himself, 1 hit point at this point, so not looking all too bad for Epsilon in terms of hit points and how they are spread out, but they are going to have to do something as we are entering the final minute. Impact tricking and bandit tricking will be opening the church wall very, very difficult, but PX is going to grab a kill back, making it 3 versus 3. So with Jugger only sitting on about 1 hit point, this is looking good for Epsilon. We're going to have to deal with this bandit in some way. Jugger going to get a great kill there from way back all the way onto Shermie, taking out the Thermite. Not a lot the Thermite can do at that point, as the bandit batteries are still in place. Jugger getting himself down through the wall. This is where the Yokai drones are going to become valuable. Noah just pushing up there and grabbing that kill onto Madman off the information that was provided by the Yokai drones. So PX in a 1 versus 1 effectively. Noah's going to do the business, putting the MP7 to great work, grabbing that headshot, and picking up that round for Unnamed. A round that you would have expected them to win, but Epsilon did a great job of just trying to clutch it back.
Yeah, they really did put a great shift in there to try and bring things back. But like you say, I think it was just a little bit, too little too late, unfortunately. They did suffer the lost man, and I think that was really bad timing when you're 4-2 down and you've got to suffer somebody dropping out of the game before you really get into any major action. It's always going to be tough from there, leaving them 5 versus 4. So we're just going to head to a short rehost while we get all the Unnamed boys back in. But Unnamed on some real momentum here, X. What's the focus for Epsilon at this point?
you've just got to do something to break it. And I'm not really too sure of what it is because Unnamed have gone on now, and that is the fifth round in a row that they've won. So Epsilon did a great job of taking the first two. It was really convincing, and it looked as though we were going to see maybe a bit of not a landslide, but it looked as though things were going to go their way, which is kind of as you would expect on defense of Clubhouse. Does swing defender sided. But then for Unnamed to kind of just respond and go, okay, well, we've seen how you're playing, appreciate it. We're going to play this way now. We're not really going to play into these, impact tricking that you're trying to do. We're not really going to play into all this. We're just going to try and drone you out, win the gunfights, and burn your utility and pick our point really, and pick our chance and moment of opportunity to be able to get these walls open, which is something that they've done very well so far. So I mean that was how their attacks went, but I mean even then on defense, you do expect to win your defense, especially down onto Arsenal. But look at the information that was provided from the Yokai drone. Just having that drone, well, having two of those drones that you're able to move around and call from. We didn't even see the shocking effects of the Yokai activated then from Tank. All they did was call it out and allowed Noah to peek around the corner and pick up the kill. So I don't know if it's like a lack of information on the side of Epsilon or if they're just coming up against a better team. But Unnamed is certainly, it's Ungame's name to point, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I like that we've seen a number of different play styles from Unnamed so far. As you've said, they've just controlled the game in whatever ways really fit at that moment in time. So we've seen rounds where they've gone in and been extremely aggressive to begin with. We saw, I thought, for me, it's one of the players of the game so far, Kendry going in through Dirt Tunnel as Ash. It's quite an unusual approach. You don't really see it too often when trying to attack Garage. You do see people maybe move in through the bar area to try and push from that direction. But yeah, it was a great move from Kendry just to get himself up them blue stairs and really apply some pressure. So I love to see that. But then on other rounds, like you say, they've then really backed off and they've left it until the last 30 seconds to try and execute. And they just seem to have really gauged it very well as to what's needed in that round. Is aggression going to work here, or is a little bit of patience going to work here? And whether it's, sometimes it's a roll of the dice because you don't always know what is going to do it, but they just seem to be winning those rolls of the dice at the minute.
Yeah, and like you say, it's turning on that aggression and that sort of that mentality of we're going to push this, and it may work, it may not. I mean, the swinging point really was gym and bedroom for Unnamed. That's when they really started to start to win rounds, and it was purely because of the push that they were able to establish. They had a really two-dimensional push, came through from Jacuzzi side, came through from CCTV and construction side, and were able to pinch through and just clear up Epsilon as they were both playing. As all the players were playing on that top floor. So like you say, it's playing with that mentality of we're really going to push quite hard for this, and we're going to see how the gunfights trade out, versus we're going to sit back and play a little bit more passive. And I think we saw quite a passive Unnamed in the first two rounds, and then they really got themselves into a bit of a stride. But don't forget both these teams are playing with a substitute, and that can always weigh in as well, depending on how those teams are looking to play this evening. If they're looking to play a little bit more strat based, or if they're looking to play a little bit more, run and gun and go and have a good time because they recognize that they've got a sub and they know that they're not going to be able to perform as they would like to because it's not the usual five. So very, very tough to sit here and to call it, and we can theorize on why we think the rounds are going different ways. But I do just feel as though Unnamed had a bit more information on that last round that we did see on Church and Arsenal.
Yeah, and I think an important point coming back into this now, you commented on it there, the first couple of rounds that Unnamed lost, they were a little bit passive. That is potentially a problem for them coming back in now. They're on defense. They've had a break during the rehost. The foot comes off the gas a little bit, and they maybe just need to be careful that they don't come into this defending too passively. They've just won Church, which is the best site on the map to be able to play a turtle defense. You're now heading up more than likely to CCTV cache or top floor as an absolute minimum. So now you're in a situation whereby you're on a site that's much more difficult to play passively as a turtle sort of defense. So I think they need to be careful not to let that aggression and that initiative drop off, and they've got to come back from this rehost and keep the pace of the game up. If they allow Epsilon now to come back in and start dictating the pace of things, that could be a little bit dangerous for Unnamed.
Yeah, and we do see rehosts really, throw teams one way or another. And Unnamed were on a hell of a run there. Like we've said, 5 rounds in a row. It's, you're looking pretty unstoppable at that point. You're going in 5-2, and you've still got CCTV cash to defend. You've still got Gym Bedroom to defend. You can go back down to Arsenal. If you do lose those 2 rounds, it isn't the end of the world. You're still going to be up in terms of round count. So it really doesn't matter if you lose, because you can go back to Arsenal where you've won previously, and you're hoping to win again as Unnamed. So for a break to come through like that, it really can shift the momentum. I'm sure that the Epsilon boys have been using this, the downtime as they're getting into the lobby, just to compose themselves and, just to talk through maybe what's going wrong. And, the Unnamed guys have got that exact same time as well to, to discuss what is happening and to figure out if there's anything that they can do better, or if there's anything different that they do want to try and bring. But I do believe that we have got everybody back into the lobby. I do believe everybody is readied up, and we are going to be jumping in for the conclusion of this first map here on Clubhouse.
We are indeed. So we head back to Clubhouse, as X has said. We've got Unnamed versus Epsilon, and we've seen, if you've just joined us, Epsilon take the first 2 rounds that they had on defense, and then from there we've had a little bit of a landslide in Unnamed's favor. They've taken 5 on the bounce, which includes 4 attacking rounds, which is no mean feat on Clubhouse, followed by their first defensive round down in the Church and Arsenal objective. So Church and Arsenal objective is unavailable for this round and the following round for Unnamed. So we're going to see them head to CCTV and Cash Room. Not too much of a surprise there. And we're going to see Kendrew with that 6th pick switch from Echo onto Valkyrie. And that's something you commented on earlier, X, when we saw a similar choice made by Epsilon early on. Valkyrie, just a bit more value on this side.
Yeah, exactly that. You've got the advantage of being able to place out the 3 cameras. You can garage, you can stick one below, you can stick one maybe outside to get a figure of how this wall push is coming through. And nowhere really that you can sit as the Echo on this site, or to be safe, you would have to sit fairly far off site, and therein lies problems in terms of rotating back on. So do agree with the Valkyrie pick for this site at the least. We are going to see Jugger as well playing Doc up on the catwalk, something that I am very fond of indeed. It does seem to garner good results for the players that do choose to play there. Kendrick going to be going for a bit of a lead there, just getting the camera out on the corner of the strip, just going to be able to keep an eye on the roof and an eye on anything through the bottom of garage. So it's on Epsilon at this point. It really is on Epsilon to show what they've got, show us what they are capable of, and how they are going to turn this tide around. Kendrick going for a second camera out there as well. I do believe he did throw one out already, but I'm not sure if it did get destroyed. But bit of a waste if it did, or maybe just a bit of an unfortunate circumstance. Because there is no IQ, so cameras should survive a good bit of time, especially if they are not in default locations. Madman opening things up with an early kill onto Cactus. So Jaeger no longer going to be available within this round. Good kill to get in the first 50 seconds, and the pressure is mounting now onto the bottom of garage.
Yeah, that's it. It just fires the Epsilon boys up a little bit, like we said, coming back from that break. This is their opportunity to really fire things up. Obviously cautious of a run out there, so they're just holding those flank angles at the minute. Jugger playing hard up on that catwalk now. You can see that the wall through from that stock area has been opened up into garage, so that's going to apply even more pressure to this lower area of garage, and now it's becoming very difficult for Jugger to watch all the angles, especially as that east wall is opened up. The wall beneath the catwalk is opened up. Jugger literally has very, very few places to go at this point, and he's just going to have to play his life as best he can and make himself a nuisance. Astro getting the kill onto Kendrew there with a headshot, taking the Valkyrie off the board. You know, his good work is largely done with those cams, but Blur this time putting that Capitao utility to great use, better than last time we saw him on the Capitao, where he lost his life quite early into the round. He's going to use one of those asphyxiating bolts to take out the dock of Jugger, and that's just going to allow now some pressure to really start being applied for garage. We've seen the value of Capitao there with the smoke grenade as well. The smoke bolt being used, and we see that allows Madman and PX to get themselves up there, get those last 2 kills, and that to me looked like a very, very different Epsilon.
The break for Epsilon has obviously done them some good. They've been able to break the sort of the curse that they were going up against there, and Unnamed do seem to have just lost their stride ever so slightly. They are going to choose to go to CCTV and Cash again. Certainly no harm in doing that. Jugger just managing to switch off Pulse there, as I'm pretty sure he's going to 6-pick from the Ella back to the Pulse as a bit of an unknown for Epsilon there. As there it is, the lucky 7th. We are going to see the elite Pulse. It is a good one. Yeah, much better round there coming out from Epsilon. Very different in the way they played it. Great garage control was taken, and they were able to move through the site, get the kills, took out the Romans that were playing down below. No C4 came out from Kendra. We've not actually, I don't even think we've seen one C4 toss aside from the C4 that we saw in the first round that came through the hatch, which is a dying shame. But I'm sure that Jugger this time will be showing us what he can do with the C4, as he is on Pulse, and it is a little bit more synonymous with the heartbeat scanner, as you get a bit more of a clear read as to where the attackers are going to be and where you need to land that nitro cell. Kendra this time going to be choosing to play his life upstairs on Garage Catwalk. There's not a lot you can do about the Capital bolts coming through from Blur. That's really going to be something that Unnamed are going to have to think about, and they're going to have to decide on how hard they are going to try and hold that Garage Catwalk, because those asphyxiating bolts, ADSs ain't going to stop him. There's nothing really that you're going to be able to do to take Capcan out or put him in the position where he's not able to get an angle to fire it up there in the first place. And that's going to be the difficulty here for Unnamed. We're going to see Madman rushing over to the hatch. Oh no, he's going to drop himself down and maybe go below over into stock. He's on a bit of a roam clear. He's got his own ideas. PX is going to be putting some EMPs down, trying to burn out those bandit batteries and just open things up for Shermie to be able to get that east wall open.
So, a steady approach so far this time from Epsilon. We don't have too much pressure being applied to Garage. We can see that west wall of Garage underneath the catwalk has been opened up, but Unnamed are not playing anybody in there actively this time. It's no surprise, really, after Epsilon's attack of the Garage last time. It was reasonably comprehensive. They cleared out the roam game, and then they moved on to the Garage, and it was very difficult for Unnamed to do anything about that. So they're opting in this time for a slightly deeper defense into sight. We're going to see the east wall getting open now. I don't think there'll be a successful trick or anything to stop that. No, there will not. The Claymore goes down to at least protect from one run out, and that's going to allow Shermie, no doubt, in due course to get himself up on the rappel and to start watching those angles into sight. We do still have at least one roamer active for Unnamed. I think possibly two with somebody over in bedroom. We're going to see Jugger getting a little bit of joy on the roaming pulse there. Headshot onto Madman just to finish things off. And he's going to be, no doubt, trying to get that pulse scanner out and just see if he can locate anybody externally. See if he can get any information for his team. We've got the smoke of Tank Ninjas just holding a very tight angle there. PX will get a headshot onto Noera. Sorry, no, it's not a headshot, but a standard kill. Through onto Noera, so that's going to even things up 4 versus 4. Kendra gets one back of his own onto PX, so that will punish him. That leaves us now 4 versus 3. We've still got some good utility on the board. We've got the Capitower Blur alive, and he does have the diffuser in hand. So all is not lost for Epsilon, although it is certainly getting closer as Kendra moves in with a headshot onto Astro. 4 versus 2, 40 seconds to go.
Oh, there we go. Shermie going to open things up. I was just about to say that it is Unnamed to lose, but Shermie grabbing that kill, just trying to drag the man count back in Epsilon's favor ever so slightly. 25 seconds. Not a lot of option here on the side of Epsilon, but to push through the double breach. Blur not quite looking in the right direction. Pre-fire shots will land, but Tank Ninjas is going to be in a great position. Switching weapons, he's going to get caught out, and Blur will punish him. 2 versus 2. 2 versus 1 as Blur picks up a second. The defuse will go down. Kendra last alive. Will he be able to find these 2 kills? He is no doubt going to get the kill there onto the planter, and the second one as well. Kendra coming up clutch for Unnamed. That's why they sub him in. Unnamed going to pick up that round and say to Epsilon, look, we've had a break. You guys came out strong. We're still here to play. And that's going to put him onto match point.
Fantastic plays from Kendrew on the dock there. That was an operator that he didn't play last round. We had Jugger on the dock, and, I don't know whether Jugger's sort of stepped back from the dock and didn't want to play it that round after getting pinned on to the catwalk. But what a great switch up. You've got Jugger moving out onto the roam with Pulse, got 1 kill. You've got Kendrew moving onto the dock, playing that harder anchor role inside, and manages to get the 2k clutch to finish things off for his team. Great decision from Unnamed to swap the roles of those 2 players. Absolutely spot on. We're going to see Kendrew this time just 6th picking away from the dock onto the Valkyrie. Back down to Church and Arsenal. We saw this in the first defensive round for Unnamed, and they won it pretty comprehensively. What do Epsilon need to change up here?
Well, something that would have been really handy for Epsilon to have last round in CCTV and Cash, it would have been a Nomad. Nomad is available to be used. Kaid is available to be used. These guys are out of quant. CCS announced it a good couple of days ago that today is the day that these operators are available to be used. Imagine if there was a Nomad on the door from CCTV into Cash. Imagine Kendrew on the dock getting flung ragdoll style across the room. It would have just made his push impossible. It made picking up those last kills impossible. A Nomad would have been great to see. In all seriousness, I'm not sure what Epsilon needs to do in that scenario. It's a great clutch from Kendra. You can't argue with it. Is there something that Epsilon could have done with hindsight? Yes, plenty. But in the moment, I think they probably played it pretty well. They looked to get the kill onto the guy that was remaining in Cash. They were getting the diffuser down. Just so happened that Kendrew prioritized his targets very well and was able to get the planter and then get the remaining attacker. If he'd have lost the engagement with the remaining attacker and then got onto the planter could have then been holding an angle. There was a few seconds left. So it was just a really great clutch. Look at this for an entry. Blur. Tank Ninja's going to get punished. Blur's drone was even at the top of Oil Pit as well. And Blur had all the time in the world just to peek over onto his head. Early kill. Garage control is being gained. Looks like a push is going to come through onto Garage Blue's stock from that side of things before moving on into bar and getting the kitchen hack. But yeah, joking aside, I'd kind of like to see Nomad played. I think there's been a lot of hype about how she's going to be a really important operator. And, these teams, please, just someone pick it.
I think Tank's got questions to answer there as to just why was he in that location with his head peeking out there. The oil pit is not something that we see played too often. It does allow you to potentially rotate up into garage or back into blue. Couple of kills flying out there in either direction. Cactus going to square things away for his team, bringing us to 3 versus 3 now. We've lost a couple of important operators there with Thatcher and Blackbeard off the board. We've got the Dockery calls raining in though. Madman will get one onto Jugger. Noera will trade that straight back out. Astro will trade that straight back out. We've got an absolute bloodbath descending on us here, which is not unusual for Church and Arsenal. We are now 1 versus 2. Cactus has it all to do. Shermy is going to start getting that diffuser down, and Cactus doesn't have too much of an option. He does get the first kill onto Astro, though. It's going to have to be another successful 1 versus 2 clutch for Unnamed to take the map here, but we are into 1 versus 2. Shots come out towards the smoke but will not land. That tells Cactus roughly where Shermy is. Which way does he choose to approach now? Shermy seems to be having all the luck with getting the peaks onto the smoke, but he just doesn't seem to be able to land any shots. That could be a little trickery from the smoke there, just playing as if he's coming from a different angle. He moves in. He's so close to the headshot, but Shermy will finish things off. Cuts the round out for Epsilon, and that gives them another breath of hope in this match against Unnamed.
Fine margins. It's coming down to ones with the diffuser down, but Epsilon keeping themselves in the fight. 6-4 now, and this has got to be looking very, very doable for them. It is going to allow Unnamed to go back down to Church and Arsenal. It's now a location where they have a 50% success rate. The kills came through very thick and fast for Epsilon last round, and I can't help but think that losing Jugger early on the Jaeger at Oil Pit was a bit of an oversight. I kind of get playing it for sort of sound cues, But I think you've kind of got to play it in a way that you're easily able to get out of it, because you can very quickly get trapped there. And early control was taken of blue stairs as well from Epsilon. So even if you did try to rotate back, I'm sure that there would have been somebody there positioned on the stairs to be able to pick him up as he rotates through. So maybe a little bit more care. Well, I don't know. Maybe a little,
if he crouches in there, he doesn't get headshot. That line of sight.
I'm sure he'd have got drone there, but like you say, he wouldn't shot. But I'm sure that he would have got killed as he rotated through down the oil pit corridor toward blue, because there were already Epsilon players on blue. Anyway, so maybe just play somewhere else.
It's a strange spot. It's a strange spot.
Don't play oil pit, please. It is a strange spot, but. That being said, Unnamed do have a couple of rounds to play with, 6-4, as we do move into match point for them again. Downstairs, Church and Arsenal, and how are they going to hold things this time? Because it seems as though Epsilon have, booked their ideas up. They're, picking up rounds. They've picked up 2 now after the short rehost that we did have, and things do seem to be looking a little bit brighter on that side of things. As they're not a million miles away from out this first game, bringing it to maybe a draw or even maybe a win. It isn't beyond the realms of possibility, especially with how they've been playing so far.
Yeah, and as I said, those rehosts we see when a team is, massively in front, they so often favour the team that is behind, and that's exactly what we're seeing so far since the break for Epsilon. But we're going to see Madman downed there so that he can be resuscitated onto 50 health. He took some early damage there, possibly from Jugger, who looks to have taken some damage as well. So I think that was a little attempt at a peek from the pulse there. But, never a bad one if you get that kill. Take Dockerby off the board. That's a big shout early in the game, taking that sort of, denying that frustration element of those goals. So he's just going to be shouting out those positions now. Noera getting a kill onto PX down in blue. PX even recognising that with a little NS in chat there. It was obviously a good one. So Astro's got himself control of bar now. He's going to be looking to just play from this hatch into Moto, see if he can get any angles. He's unlikely to get a pick from there. Jugger with the great C4 toss on the pulse, and that is something I know you were waiting for, X. I'm going to let you come in on that one.
I've been waiting for it. Thank you. C4, it's so valuable, and he showed us the true value. Noah going to grab a kill of his own. 5 versus 2 in favor of Unnamed. Astro going to be trying to burn out any ADS and stun the Jaeger, playing at the back of the stack in oil pit. Shots are going to come through onto Noah. He's going to be in a tricky spot. He's going to peek onto the Blackbeard. Not a great idea. He is going to get taken out from the hatch by Astro. So the duo of Astro and Blur working very well so far. They've got a minute, but they've got a lot of kills to find. They do not have the diffuser, as I say so. Jugger is going to find the kill over onto Astro, and it's going to be all down to a very low hit point Blur. Not sure if he's got any Blackbeard face shields left. It does look like he may have one. Kendry's going to peek over on into the garage. Pre-fire shots coming through the wall. Who is going to get this kill? 38 seconds left. Kendry, you don't need to push this all too much. I know that he wants to hunt for that glory on peeking onto the Blackbeard, but at this point, it looks as though it's all said and done for Epsilon. Blur has got a very tall order if he is going to look to clutch out this round. As he does peek over onto the door, it is going to be Kendry that picks up that final kill, and that is going to be the first map, Clubhouse, going to Unnamed.
Yep, you can't understate the importance of that first win. That guarantees Unnamed a draw at best here. A draw at worst here. Or if they win the second map, then they take all of the marbles. So that will be the first one over. Great. I really enjoyed that first map. There was really good spells from both teams. I think 7-4, it could have been even closer than that. They really did sort of go at each other, and we had some real back and forth there with teams coming back from losing a good few rounds and regaining that momentum. So great plays so far. We're going to be heading on to our second map very shortly, which will be Oregon. So don't go anywhere. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and then X and I will rejoin you, and we'll get straight into Oregon for the conclusion of this match between Unnamed and Epsilon.
been a minute, got none of the vows. Yet another gimmick, yeah, you said hold on, but I didn't feel it, yeah, you said hold on, but I didn't feel it. Give me a If we drift to the rising, if we let it all go, then will you come with me? Till we are free. If we drift to the rising, if we let it all go, then will you come with me?
Welcome back to CCS EU Season 4. We are back live with the Unnamed versus Epsilon game. We've just seen a fantastic first map. If you missed it, you're certainly going to want to go and watch the VOD at a later date and catch it. It was a great first map between Unnamed and Epsilon on Clubhouse. We're moving on to Oregon next. What do you think we've seen in that first map, X, that's going to translate to the second? What do you think we're going to take away from that?
Well, we certainly saw a slightly slower start maybe from Unnamed. They did lose the first 2 rounds fairly heavily, but after that, they were pretty much unstoppable. And to finish on a scoreline of 7-4, when they came out of their attacking phase 4-2 on Clubhouse, which is very impressive, they did a fantastic job. So moving on into Oregon, I'm hoping to see more of the same. Good number of close rounds there as well from Unnamed. So it's always nice to see when the rounds are coming out that close. Dockerby will be the first ban, as I didn't actually catch which side these teams are currently on. So we do have blue and orange team for the time being, but we will figure that out straight away, as we are going to see another ban come through from Glaz.
Yeah, slightly unusual with the Dockerby ban. I know she's a frustrating operator to play against, and we have seen a ban rate going up a little bit. Oregon, I think she does fit quite well as a ban on Oregon, because we do see that the gunfights and the roaming is extremely important, and that is quite often what will decide a map on Oregon. So an operator like Dockerby can be extremely important to try and narrow down those roamers and force them out of position. So not too much of a surprise, but there are other operators that would tend to see ban first. And then Mirror and Echo, I think we could have probably predicted those two before we started.
Yeah, so to clear up, blue is going to be Unnamed and it is going to be orange for Epsilon. So yeah, like you say, bans coming out pretty standard there, nothing too out of the ordinary. Dockerby got a lot of value and it is going to change things up. We are going to see one of the new operators. Tank Ninjas is going to be bringing us Cade, maybe after a sneaky 6 pick, as he's going to bait us out with a Legion first. I do hope we see the Cade, as it is very nice for holding that laundry room. And this is something that could really shift things up, because historically we've seen if Mirror's banned, laundry can be more difficult to hold, purely because you've not really got anywhere to go. Not only are we going to see Cade, we're going to see Nomad as well. So
let's go.
Maverick, they're going to be 6 picked out, and Nomad going to be brought in from Blur. So we're going to see a lot of new things this round, things that we're not used to seeing in competitive Siege just as of yet, but I'm sure it's something that we are going to get more used to seeing. So Tank Ninjas here should be able to keep hold of Laundry Hatch fairly well. It is going to force Madman to use his Thatchers, and even if Madman does use his Thatchers, because we're dealing with a Thermite and not a Hibana, you can still Cade trick the hatch. So you can still throw the Cade, or the Electric Claw, sorry, correct terminology here only. You can still throw the Electric Claw, and you can still hit the hatch, and you can still trick it, especially with shooting out that top wall. Couple that with a Mute Jammer. It's all of a sudden looking very good to try and hold laundry. It is looking like something that you're going to be able to, really try and keep hold of that laundry hatch for quite some time. So we'll have to see how this plays out, because I'm excited, genuinely excited to see how the team of, how the team of Unnamed are able to keep hold of this. Now the team of Epsilon are able to, counter that and try to get it open, because they are going to have to do something to remove that Electric Claw and get this hatch open.
Yep, that mute Kaid combo, first kill coming in from Kendrew, very quickly headshot onto Zafia there. But that mute Kaid combo, that could be a real danger, like you say, because it's the Thatcher charge, the Thatcher EMP that you're listening for as the sound cue on the Electrico trick, if you will. You want to hear that EMP, and then you're going to toss it up, waiting for the Thermite charge to be placed or activated. So the mute jammer then is forcing the Thatcher to use that EMP, otherwise the hatch is going nowhere anyway. So that could be a very interesting combination. We can see Kendrew on that roaming dock, top floor, just jumping out and back into, I would guess, the double window. We're going to see the Nomad placed into the corner of meeting hole there on both sides. So that is now going to mean that the attackers are not really free to move into the meeting hole and challenge unless they come through the attic. This is definitely shaping up to be a rear side push from Epsilon. Could have possibly, you know, predicted that Kaid trick in, and they don't want to go up against it, so they are going to look to push from the rear side. They've got the hatch drop back there. They will lose a second man in PX, so that now leaves them 3 versus 5. And at this point, minute 30 to go, Unnamed are looking pretty good.
All of a sudden, it looks as though Laundry is now a decent objective once again to try and hold, despite the fact that Mirror is banned out. So Noah just pushing over, holding an angle onto the rear stage stairs. And at this point, you're pretty much waiting for a hatch drop coming out from Epsilon. As soon as Epsilon drop the hatch, Unnamed are going to be in position waiting, or ready and waiting to get those kills as they come through. We are seeing a bit of aggression there from Mute at the top of Laundry stairs, but if he does push in through flags, he is going to trigger one of the air jabs and he will end up on the floor. Kill there going to come out from Shermy. Patience paying off for him as he's been playing that hatch for a good number of seconds now. He is going to find one on Jaeger. 4 versus 3 with 40 seconds left to go. Still looking very good for the defenders to try and hold this. Shermy is going to have to do something very shortly. Madman coming out with a kill of his own, traded straight back by Jugger. 3 versus 2. The hatch drop comes through from Shermy. Doesn't manage to land his shots over onto the Maestro. He's going to reposition and hold at a different angle. Blur going to make his way all the way into the site. Grabs the kill onto Kendrew. Not before Kendrew took out Shermy. 1 versus 2 now. Diffuser not in Blur's hand. The diffuser is underneath the hatch being watched from above. He's not got a lot that he's going to be able to do in this scenario. Chooses the wrong side of the door to peek. Jugger's there to clean things up. Great first round there for Unnamed.
Yeah, very solid from Unnamed there. They knew that all the attention was going to have to come from the hatchers. They lost a couple of men defending them, but it just didn't really matter in the end. Ultimately, Epsilon were having to put themselves into very, very dangerous situations and positions in order to push that attack. They had to drop hatches. We saw what happened when the hatch was dropped. Jugger was just waiting with an angle onto it, and he put big shots onto the thermite and really damaged him. I think it was Shermy possibly. And it just makes it very, very difficult when you have to push by dropping hatches and coming down angles that are already being held. There was no attention paid towards the front side or to the hatch, and that's no surprise with the potential of Kaid there. I don't know if there might have just been a little bit of value X in pushing somebody down those front stairs just to take. They had like 3 or 4 guns trained on rear side at all times, and I think somebody just pushing down those front stairs a little bit and paying some attention to that side would have just maybe taken a bit of attention away.
Ying, Capital, Blitz, Monty, all operators that you can use in that sort of a scenario to try and brute force your way into somewhere. And even if it's not that operator that's going to get the shot onto the electrical claw or the shot onto the mute jammer or the kill onto a defender, even if it's just the pressure. We saw the angle that Juggle was able to hold. He was in the double door of Laundry into the corridor outside of electrical and supply, and he was able to hold that angle pretty much for all of the round, or as long as he wanted to, because there was no pressure whatsoever from Laundry stairs. So I do agree, in some sort of a pressure from Laundry would have been very, very useful in that scenario, just to cause the defenders some sort of discomfort. And, you know, if you're giving them half the site that they're able to peek off, then they don't have to worry about the back. Then, you know, it's no real surprise that you're going to all funnel yourselves down hatches and staircases. You even see it when players push Laundry and they actually get the hatch open. Usually somebody always goes down rear stage side just to provide that pressure and to pick up those kills as a bit of a flank. Yeah, maybe a bit of an oversight perhaps there from Epsilon, but we are seeing something relatively new. We are seeing the new operators, and it's always a bit of a wonder as to how these are going to affect the meta. Seeing both new operators played on the first time we're seeing this map played in CCS is, you know, quite infusing really. It shows that the operators are useful and that the game's kind of, you know, going in the right direction, where operators are being brought in that are quite competitive straight off the rip, and both teams showing there that they really want to bring them.
Yeah, and you know, just the willingness to do so. Like you say, you want to mix it up. We're going to see a different meta evolving now. We're just going to see a very quick trade there. Astro getting the first kill onto Noera, but he's going to get taken straight back out. Interesting to point out, PX on that Blackbeard actually lost both of his shields in the first 30 seconds of the round here. So just an interesting little bit for you to watch there and see how that develops throughout the round and how much impact it has. Madman getting a kill of his own onto Tank Ninjas. So that's going to put things, there we go. Interestingly, Jugger with a nice kill onto PX. Had he had his face shields, potentially a different outcome there. Blur gets the kill onto Kendrew, so that brings things back in favour of Epsilon, but they do have Shermie on very low HP. Meanwhile, both of the remaining unnamed defenders are on full HP, and Jugger is in a tricky position here. But again, there are options for Epsilon, maybe to push those kids' windows, or maybe to get the Nomad air jab in there and do exactly that, clear him out. And how's that for an example of the new operator and the power that Nomad brings? Madman moving in to mop things up onto Cactus, and that will tie the round up for Epsilon.
As Jugger, you've got to be annoyed. There was an ADS there and everything. It must have been out of the range of the ADS, or the ADS had already been burned. But, you know, you can see the frustration with Nomad. It's going to be an operator that is going to take some adapting to. You're no longer just going to be able to find a power position and play it. Jugger, real power position there, just outside of Kid's door, deployable shield. He has somebody covering his white stairs. So there's pretty much nowhere where he's going to be getting shot from without him knowing about it. And the Nomad comes through, even deployed onto the roof, or onto the ceiling, should I say, was enough to, you know, kick him out, and it kicked him out in the direction of just open sight, open field. All of a sudden, Blair able to switch off the air jab into the gun and clean up the kill. So you love to see it. You love to see the new ops coming in. You love to see the changes that they are going to bring. Almost, I'd go as far as to say round winning.
I don't think Jugger loves to see it.
I don't think Jugger loves to see it at all, but that was round winning for Epsilon. And, you know, GG's, they're using the meta, they're using the most effective tactic
That's
available.
the bottom line. You know, we could probably discuss all night whether Nomad is overpowered, you know, how that ability fits in with the game. You know, we could go into that all night, I'm sure. That's a great example there of just exactly what can be done with that gadget, and that is to literally essentially pick up and move a defender out of a safe spot, and that is very powerful. But the bottom line here is that these teams are taking that possibility and they're learning and they're using it to the best possible advantage at the minute. You know, and if decisions come further down the line where, you know, Nomad is no longer available, then that'll be the case at that time. But right now, the teams are doing what they need to do, and no surprise to see Blair, you know, taking the Nomad again on that attacking lineup. It was just so powerful on that attack.
So effective, and I'm sure he's going to try and deploy it again in a similar way. I think that Jugger's actually got the deployable shield up again for Maestro, but this time he's choosing to hide himself over in Kids' dorms, as it is a slight bit safer, and I think he's hoping to, you know, maybe stay on his feet a little this round and be able to rejoin the fight fairly quickly off a rotate and not having to get up through the animation. Shermie just doing some good exploratory drone work downstairs, just figuring out if there's going to be a C4 from below he has to worry about before he moves on to get generator room open. Madman with the shots there through onto Kid's window, just trying to unseat Jugger or any of the defenders that are remaining playing inside of Kids. Epsilon has have established good control there over Master Bedroom, and they've been able to get generator wall open, but there are still some defenders off site, which is going to allow maybe a bit of vertical play. Jugger, heavy pressure there coming through from the grenades. Tank is just going to rotate his way up onto white stairs to try and rejoin the fight ever so slightly on the objective level. Cactus holding an angle through kitchen, just looking through classroom. I think he's aware that there's going to be a player at the bottom of Armory stairs, but he's not really wanting to peek onto it all too much. Astro threads the eye of a needle there and grabs that kill over onto Cactus. Really skinny angle there, especially with a holographic. Kendrew going to grab a kill of his own over onto Madman before PX trades one straight back out onto Tank. 3 versus 4 now in favour of Epsilon, and it's got to be looking pretty good. Still got some defenders remaining off-site. Legion and Kendrew just both playing on white stairs, trying to get themselves back up into the fight, but no, Shermie is going to have something to say about it. Jugger does trade one out, however, but it is looking at a very sticky situation here for Unnamed, as the diffuser is in Shermie's hands, and he could try and plant. Jugger does manage to take out Shermie. Air jab in the usual spot, as it is now going to be known, but Blur manages to find the headshot onto Jugger. Jugger knew the air jab was there. He rotated through the rotation, didn't want to try and get knocked onto his bum again, and instead repeat the angle from the rotate, but Blur was there, trained, ready. Noah now, 1 versus 2, clutch situation, takes out the Nomad. Peakson does get the kill, does get air jabbed out, and is now left in domain hall. Drones are on him, throwing out some dew mines, trying to pick up this last kill. I'm sure that the plan is not going to go through, as Astro is going to peek through the rotate and grab that one over onto Noah. It could have gone either way, and there was real good opportunities for both sides there, but ultimately it is going to be Epsilon coming out on top for that 3rd round.
So close to Noera there, especially after suffering that air jab, blasting him back into the main dorms room and getting back to his feet, getting himself back in the fight. He even predicted the movement round to the white stairs to generate a dorms rotation, but he just couldn't win the gunfight. He just dropped out of his ADS at a slightly strange time, I think, and it just ultimately left him hip firing, and he just couldn't pick up that final kill, but I'm sure he knows how close he was. So that's going to be the 2nd attacking round that Epsilon are going to win. So that's 2 out of 3 for them now. We're going to see the Blitz traded out for the Nomad again on the 6th pick. And again, not too much of a surprise. We've seen the power there. We're going to be heading back down to the laundry objective this time. So no Kaid this time on the side of the defenders, and I'm a little bit surprised by that, because we commented last time about how much the threat of that Kaid really dictated what the attackers were doing on this side. It forced them to a complete rear side push, and they just didn't really get anywhere with it. They were having to challenge hatches and drop hatches, and they just didn't manage to apply any real pressure to site at any point. So I'm surprised to not see that Kaid. I think as soon as the attackers realise that there isn't a Kaid on the board, we're likely to see that hatch get opened up, and we're going to see that front side pressure that they really needed last time.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
It is really strange, especially with Kendry switching over onto the Ella as well. Ella's not an operator that we've seen play today. It's not an operator you get a lot of comp time anymore, purely because of the heavy nerfs that Ella has received. So a little bit strange, more familiar with seeing Kendry maybe on an ACOG, and that maybe switching the lineup of the the team composition a little bit to allow for that Kaid to come in at some point. But yeah, Tank Ninja's just switching off over onto Legion. Must feel like there's a bit more value. I think Epsilon is still going to take things fairly steady. We can see the EMP has gone off, so that's going to have destroyed the mute jammer that will be playing underneath or on top of laundry. But we're seeing a 3-man rotate coming through Attic, led by Kendry, and Attic isn't actually open, so it's not going to be a great deal that he's able to do when he does get there. Blur is aware of his presence. Drone work has gone on, and I'm not sure where this, what the idea of this push is at the moment, because Kendry is just playing it inside of Attic. He's got no rotation out. He's going to have to either go back down, or very kindly, Sledge is going to open the wall for him. Drone's going to come through as well. It's going to force him to drop. He picks the kill onto Astro through the soft wall. Takes the drone out as well. He's asking for a rotate. He's desperate for an out here. He's trying his hardest. Noah going to grab one onto Blur. 5 versus 2 now in favor of Unnamed. Whatever Unnamed were doing, it worked very well. 5 versus 1 now. It's all down to Shermie. Within the first half of the round, 4 players of Epsilon have been cut down. Shermie left last alive. Diffuser in hand, hatch closed. He is thermite, so there's potential for him to be able to open it, but he's got a very, very tall order if he's wanting to clutch out this round.
Yeah, he certainly has it all to do. 1 versus 5 now. He really needs to start breaking these down into those 1 versus 1 engagements. We've said it so often, and we're going to see Tank Ninjas just rotating around underneath meeting hall there. We've got at least 4 on site. There's certainly nobody looking to kill chase onto him. Nobody rushing to pick him up. We've got Cactus at rear stage, who's just been on the cams there, so I'm not sure if he's picked something up. They don't have a Valkyrie, but Tank will move in and get that final kill. It was just a matter of time, I think, there. And Unnamed playing very, very patiently, not rushing in, not chasing the kill, and that's how you lose rounds like that. So good stuff from Unnamed. I'm not sure what really went wrong for Epsilon there. They certainly tried to play towards the hatch. I think they suffered some bad luck with that Kendrew drop. Let's be honest, that was a hell of a shot from Kendrew through the soft wall. But yeah, they just went for a West clear, quite standard really. Got that done quite quickly. Never really managed to get the hatch open, and just sort of started losing people very, very quickly after that point. So a little bit unfortunate for Epsilon there, but that's going to bring us back to 2-2, and we're going to be heading into round number 5, back up to Kids Dorms. And Unnamed, yet to see any success up here.
I think we can confirm that Blur's now a Nomad main. He's been exposed as the Nomad main now for Epsilon, and you do love to see it. It is working quite well for him so far. Last round, maybe not so much, but very unpredictable play there really from Unnamed. 3 people rotating through the attic, with the attic closed and no real option as to how they were going to then peek onto it. Maybe one of the guys that was up there had impacts. They were looking to maybe impact through and push down Armory Stairs when they realised the presence was at the top of Armory Stairs and outside of attic. Maybe it was just, Sledge doing them a favour by opening up that rotate and forcing Kendrew to move back down into meeting. Who will know? But we're not going to see Kids Storm. This is a objective, as you say, that Unnamed have struggled on so far. Jugger going to be playing his usual spot, or at least placing his shield up there, and maybe an Evil Eye very sneakily in the little walk in there to try and destroy any thermites, exothermics that are going to be played or placed on that generator room wall. I think Jugger's got to be screaming for an ADS there after what happened with the Nomad a couple of rounds ago. That's what I'd be asking for in that situation, I think. Yeah, very unfortunate. What is this? Aggressive run out. Hello? Kendrew, what are you doing?
Kendrew not messing about.
He's just going to run out of armory, grab the kill, get traded straight away. He takes out PX, he takes out a lot of soft destruction, a good couple of grenades, but he is going to lose his life pretty much straight away. We've seen a different Kendrew the last couple of rounds. He's been, more onto the flex operators, more onto the roaming operators, as we are more used to seeing him maybe on an ACOG. He's just maybe flexing his muscles and just deciding, you know what, I'm going to run out and try and pick up a kill and do my bit for the team. I'll sit and watch the Evil Eyes and the Black Eye cameras for you guys.
Yeah, I don't know how much value there was in that on a 1v1 trade, taking Sledge out. You lose the nades, as you say, but there's certainly more valuable operators that you could have taken. I think Kendrew was probably hoping to catch 2 or 3 of them unaware then on a street spawn. But he gets 1, 1 for 1, not the end of the world, but that's going to leave us with another kill on the Epsilon side now. 4 versus 3 Astro, just going to trigger a couple of those goo mines there, getting absolutely hammered by him, and we're going to be watching the Nomad of Blur just working his way in. He's just going to look to cover those rotates there. As you can see, he's just tucking them away in those little dark corners where people aren't really ADSing, aren't paying too much attention. And that's going to make them very difficult to spot. So we've got Noera on the Legion now, playing at the top of White Stairs. He's going to be able to shout out that generator dorm's wall is being opened. That's going to make things even more difficult for the defenders here, because they've got pressure now being applied from Armory Corridor and from generator wall. And we're going to have a rotation back at White Stairs. So we've got all 3 defenders on site. Noera moving out, getting the first kill onto Shermy. Astro will get him traded out. Madman with one of his own onto Jugger. Tank trades out onto Astro. That is now going to leave us 2 versus 1, and Blur just moves in and very casually picks up the kill from that window.
Yeah, very good crossfire established there by the remaining players, Blur and Madman on Epsilon, and they were able to take the time and not rush that all too much, which is the key in those situations, because Cactus, he was picking up the kills and he was hitting his shot. If that, if they wait a little bit longer, or he actually hits his first little peek he did onto Madman, could have been a very different story indeed. But that is going to see us at 2-3. Kids Dorms is going to be the location yet again, as Unnamed are on the 2-round rotation parameter. Well, everyone's on the 2-round rotation parameter, so they're not able to go back downstairs just as of yet. But this is an objective that they're really struggling to hold. Is it worth really throwing a bit of a spanner in the works and choosing to go over to rear stage or even down onto kitchen just to do something a bit different? Because Epsilon are winning upstairs very, very convincingly so far.
That's it, it's not even close really, that's the point. Yeah, rear stage and kitchen, neither of them are ideal sites, but do you want to go back to a site that you've lost 3 times already? The only site that they've won so far is down in Laundry, and at this point you're just really not going to carry all too much confidence. I'm sure we're not going to see Kendrew going headlong out of Armory window this time looking for peaks. I'm sure he's going to, you know, play that probably a little bit more cautiously, but they really just don't have an answer at the minute to this Armory generator wall side push, and then there's a little bit of pressure applied sometimes to generate a window, sometimes to double window, and they just don't really seem to have much of an answer to it.
And they are going to have to find an answer, and I think things like Kendrew jumping out of Armory isn't the answer. We did see that last round, and I mean, look, last round came down to a 1 versus 2. That could have been a 2 versus 2 had we seen a little bit less aggression earlier on. Hindsight's a wonderful thing, and it's easy to sit here and say what could or should or would or happened, but ultimately a little bit more conservative play on the side of Unnamed here. They are 1-up in this series, and they really do want to look to close out this second game, as well as I do believe that they are the 3rd rank at the moment, and Epsilon are 2nd rank in the leaderboard. So it's a real big game really for Unnamed. If they manage to take out Epsilon here, it does stand them in a good stead. Blur going to be blurred as he gets into Armory. Kill's going to come through from Tank Ninjas. He is going to find that one through the Grismot mine, and that's going to be no more Nomads, no more air jobs to worry about. Jugger, you're going to be safe playing behind your shield this time. You are going to get removed and flung into the middle of the corridor, as I'm sure that Jugger's going to be very happy to hear that. And it's a good start from Unnamed. You know, that's a really good opening kill to get. You know, you're able to take out the entry fragger in that scenario, and all the players of Unnamed are still well positioned to be able to cut down these attackers as the push does come through.
We've had some great examples so far, like absolute textbook examples of operator gadgets in use. We've seen the Nomad used to perfection on Jugger. We've just seen a great example there of Ella's mines and how powerful those Grismot mines can be. Just getting in there, stuns him, time then moves in, he's got the location, he knows there's a gunfight to be had in there, gets in and uses Ella's gun to the best of its ability in that short range engagement that you know, Ubisoft were looking so much to push Ella into, rather than those long range engagements with the Scorpion. So yeah, some great examples so far. Madman diving into sight, getting a kill onto Cactus, but Jugger will pick up a nice double for himself onto Madman, and Shermie, he looks for a 3rd, but he won't find it as Astro is just that little bit more aware and gets the kill onto Jugger, but his job is largely done so far. Astro is very low, but he knows he's going to be pressured from the bottom of stairs. He doesn't have enough hit points to take the fight though, and Noera moves in with the final kill, and that is a round back in the favour of Unnamed. They've finally won Domes.
Finally, indeed, at the turn of the tide as well. That was round number 6. Moving now into round number 7, where the sides will switch. So to come out of that 3-3, I think both teams have got to be pretty happy with that result. Unnamed did struggle to win upstairs. Tank there just baiting us with the Lion pick. Lion is, of course, still quarantined. It is only Nomad and Kaid that are available for play. But yeah, got to be pretty happy with that. Both sides coming out 3-3. I feel like it was fairly balanced. There was a couple of rounds that swung heavily one way or the other, but overall, that is a very just result for the first couple of rounds. We are going to see Thermite 6 picked out of, which isn't something that you see all the time. Nomad and Kaid both going to be chosen. So Blur is now exposed as the new operator main. So no longer are we going to see Blur on smoke as we have historically. That's going to be now the job of Madman, and Blur is going to jump into that Kaid role as I'm sure that they're going to look to try and hold laundry hatch, very much the same way that Unnamed were able to do it.
Looking to around U7 there. The spoils so far have been even through the first half of this one, and as you say, we're going to see that switch now. So we're going to see the Kaid brought to laundry again. Not too much of a surprise after how much of a struggle this site became once Epsilon knew that there was a Kaid on the other side. So we've got Blur ready and prepped. I'm sure he's going to be down there. We don't have the combination of mute this time, and that was an idea that I really wanted to see how that developed, but we just never saw them attack the hatch. Just having that mute there to force the EMPs out and allow that sound cue for the Kaid. But we'll see how this one plays out. It looks like we're going to have quite a heavy rear push here. We've got Tank Jugger and Kendrew all moving towards construction and big tower. But how's about that for an early peak? Astro onto Tank Ninjas, and that one looks like it must have come from the garage door. And that is a great first kill to fire his team up, and that's going to leave them now 5 versus 4 in the early round, and it's the Nomad off the board, so we've already seen the value of that operator as well, and all that utility is gone without use, and we're going to have another exchange there between Jugger and one of the defenders, but he's just not going to be able to put shots onto the Legion yet in Meeting Hall. He's going to continue to challenge, and the Legion's just going to drop back to safety, live to fight another day. That's exactly what the Roamers are there to do. They're to waste the time, just slow the attack down and to give that information of where the push is going to come from. Now, the barricade going through is no doubt going to give the Maestro of Shermie a good warning on rear stage, but as he moves downstairs, Kendrew is there to pick up the kill.
Kendrew grabbing that kill there from Blue from construction, and now as the Ash is going to be able to breach in, as it wasn't reinforced, which is a little bit strange to see. Drone work now going to come through as we move into the last half of the round. Jugger getting himself in an engagement there with Astro, but managing to come out the victor. But look at all the time that Legion was able to waste there. Blur still an Electric Claw in hand. He is going to be able to block the meeting hatch as well. So that's going to make the push a little bit more difficult for the remaining players on Unnamed to try and execute and open up these lines of sight. So despite the man advantage, it does still look fairly good at this moment in time for Epsilon to keep hold of this round. Jugger, I'm sure, will be getting reset very shortly as he is actually down. And we are going to move through into the final minute of the round.
1 minute to go then, 4 versus 3. The attackers have made good progress here, but they really need to start using that man advantage, and PX is going to single-handedly turn that around. That now leaves us 2 versus 3, and that is a huge turnaround in this last 40 seconds for the defenders. They were really, really on the back foot there. PX going to get a third for himself. There isn't an ace on the card. There's already one of these gone down, and Blur will pinch that 4K with the final kill onto Kendrew, but that was excellent from Epsilon there. They really were on the back foot. They got pressured on site. They were 4 versus 3 down in terms of man count, and they just managed to hold themselves fast and wait for their opportunity. PX on a great rotation into Meeting Hall, gets himself a 3K and really takes that round by the scruff of the neck for his team.
So the first round after the switch is going to go into Epsilon's favor. That is something that was kind of to be expected. Laundry is usually a defender-favored site, especially with the addition of the Cade and the way that we've seen it play out in this game so far. We are going to move, however, now upstairs to kids and dorms, and this can be a little bit more tricky for the defenders. Unnamed did struggle up here 2 rounds. They were successful on their 3rd attempt, but it did take them 2 losses to get to that point. So far, we're seeing a very back and forth game, and I think that if there is a game or if there is a map that's going to go to overtime, this certainly looks like it could. What is the Frost pick coming out? Blur is moving from the Ella to the Frost. Interesting. I like to see the placement on the frost mats, I guess. It is something that isn't to be expected, so it seriously could catch players of Unnamed out. But yeah, it just seems a little bit of a strange pick there.
You know, I always like to see the placement of a frost mat X, because if I don't, I tend to step in it. But with almost 100% success rate. But yeah, a little bit of a strange choice, but we've already seen them struggle with dorms. We've seen Unnamed really struggle on the dorms push, so maybe they're just trying to throw something completely out of left field. You know, I've said it before, frost mats win rounds at all ranks of play, at all levels of competitive play. We've seen it all the way up to Pro League, and it's easy to write frost off and say that good players shouldn't get it trapped in frost mats. But I tell you what, you come into the last 15 seconds, you've got the diffuser, you have to get onto site, you're not looking for frost mats anymore, and that's when they catch people out. So we'll see how that one pans out as the round goes, but it's certainly, you know, worth pointing out that it is a risky pick. nonetheless. But you're going to have what looks like a strong rear side push here initially going towards Big Tower, but Madman will get the first kill onto Jugger, taking the Zafir off the board, and that is some good early utility that is lost for the attackers there. We've got Kendrew early up onto the Kidstorm's windows. He's going to be shooting through blocked barricades at the normal, usual angles where you'd expect to find players, but he's not going to connect any shots, and we've currently got Blur just hiding away in the attic, and we'll get a good kill onto Kendrew, taking the Ash off the board. So that will be 5 versus 3 and a great start for Epsilon. 2 minutes to go, and the attackers really do have to think of something here. I'm
surprised it took Blur that long to be able to grab that kill there over onto Kendrew. It did seem like he was playing the attic for some time. He has been forced back. Tank Ninja's now down on highway, and Cactus is trying to come to his aid, trying to find that kill. I'm not sure if he's even going to be able to find the revive at this point as the pressure is coming through. A little bit of a lapse in that pressure now, though, as an EMP is going to get tossed out but burnt through by the ADS. So he's surely now going to go for the revive as Tank has managed to get himself safe. There is actually an air jab in between the kids' windows, which is something that I really like the look of, because if you run out of there, I'd love to see the animation. If you jump out of kids' windows now, where do you end up with an air jab there? Maybe we're not going to find out, as Hibana makes a way through into generator room and grabs a quick kill, but Madman with 2 of his own with the SMG-11 with the same clip. Madman rushing up aggressively, but it's going to be Shermie closing things out there and picking up that final kill. So another round on the board for Epsilon, doing very, very well upstairs in Kids Dorm.
Epsilon really putting a marker down now. They really want this draw. They don't want to succumb to Unnamed. That much is for sure. Heading into round number 9, they really are fighting hard here. And Unnamed at the minute are just... they look a little bit stunned to me. They look a little bit stunned. They don't really know what to do with this Epsilon team. No matter what they try, there always seems to be an Epsilon player waiting there, whether it's in the first 20 seconds or the last 20 seconds. They really are struggling. They're going to be heading down to kitchen and dining hall now at Epsilon. So this is going to be a really telling point for them. As I said, they've been playing well so far, but now they're having to go on to a trickier site. So let's see what happens.
We are going to see Blur switching over onto the Cade. It is an operator that he has shown quite a passion for so far. We've seen him on both of the new ops fairly consistently, and we're going to switch from one hard breach to another. Thermite is going to be chosen instead of Hibana on the side of Unnamed there. So really, this could be a draw. It is looking very good at this moment in time for Epsilon. They have now got to go down to kitchen and dining, which can be a little bit tricky, as it isn't usually one of the sites that you would expect to win on Oregon. Usually you'd really be looking to pick up your rounds on kids and laundry, but you know, with the 2-round rotation parameter, it really forces teams to come up with strategies and to come up with ideas as to how they are going to play these slightly less preferred sites. And sometimes it can be down to the teams that are able to adapt and that have got a bit of a plan as to how they're going to hold it. Sometimes it can be those teams that are able to clutch up when it counts, as it is all about being able to hold these more unpredictable sites. As the attackers now, you don't really know where the defending team are going to go. They're either going to go into kitchen dining or they're going to go into rear stage, and that can make your operator selection a little bit more tricky indeed. But it does look as though the attackers are going to have all they need at their disposal to be able to deal with the castle barricades, to be able to deal with the bandit that's tricking, and to be able to open up the wall from office over on into kitchen and dining. So the push will come through, but no doubt it will come through a little bit slower. Kendrew, though, has already made his way past classroom, and it looks as though he is peeking over on into kitchen. This can be devastating. Sometimes the defenders are a little bit too far off site. We can see Astro here is fairly far off site over in T2. Kendrew, as predicted, is going to pick up a beautiful double kill, just making his way through. We'll get traded out. We've got a flurry of kills in quick succession, but it's going to be Unnamed that are on the right side of the trades, and it is now all down to Madman within the first minute of the round. So the aggression that Kendrew showed, coming through main lobby, coming past classroom and making his way over onto kitchen, picking up those quick 2 kills. The smoke is now been deployed from Capital, and it is all onto Madman. He double peeks onto the double door. but the asphyxiating bolt is going to force him back down into the corner. Unnamed really need to get a plan down now, and they are going to do so. That is going to apply a lot of pressure. Madman really now with nowhere else to go. He's going to peek onto the rotate, come into an engagement with Jugger. If he goes one way, he's got Jugger. If he goes the other way, he's got the Capital of Cactus, and it is going to be Cactus that picks up that final kill.
Absolute back and forward here. Unnamed taking a claim for the win. They really don't want the draw of Epsilon, and they really are going toe-to-toe these two teams, and it is a great match to watch. So coming into round number 10 of map 2, remember we are on a best of 2 with Unnamed having taken the first map. The best that Epsilon can hope for here is a draw. Unnamed obviously looking to take all of the marbles with the win on this map. So round number 10, we're going to see Epsilon 5-4 in front, and we are going to be heading downstairs to Laundry and Supply. Ooh, we've got a Vigil coming out, X. First time we've seen a real heavy roam operator so far tonight.
Yeah, Vigil's, quite a lot of value over on Oregon. It is just going to be a debate, unfortunately. It is going to be a 6-pick back over onto the Cade. But that's I kind of guess that's what you get. You're going to have to be using these off operators to try and bait out the switch over onto the operators that you're kind of not expecting. At this point, Blur's pick Cade every single time, 6-picked every single time. There's still a level of uncertainty on the side of Unnamed as to what that operator is going to be, but by this point, I'm sure that they're going to know that Blur is going to want to choose the Cade, and he is going to be 6-picking out. So back down into Laundry, and I'm sure that this is going to be held a little similar to the way we've seen it held previously by the defenders, as it has been working out very well for both teams on both of their defensive rounds on this map. Epsilon only 1 round away from match point as well. If they do win this map on Oregon, the series then will be a draw, as Unnamed did take Clubhouse 7 rounds to 4. So as far as Epsilon's concerned, this is really their time to push through and to come out with this victory, because if they come out with the victory, they're going to come through with the draw. That's going to be something that they're looking for at this point. A win is not possible for Epsilon. We do play a best of 2 here on CCS. If you're on the side of Unnamed, you're going to be looking at that and you're going to be thinking, we're 1 round behind. It is not the end of the world. We really need to pick up this next round and try to confirm this win. Tank going to make his way into T3 and drop his way all the way down into rear stage, ready to peek onto Meeting. Unfortunately for Epsilon, we are going to suffer a disconnect. That is going to be Blur, and that could play out quite heavily in how this round progresses, as this is pretty much a must-win round for Unnamed, because if they did lose this, it would send Epsilon over onto the match point. So Unnamed is going to look to take all the advantages that they can at this moment in time, and that disconnect is going to be something that they're going to be pretty happy about, I'm sure. Tank's still just playing in and around rear stage, going to get into his drone and figure out if there's anybody playing immediately at the bottom. Does see that we've got a player playing the Maestro just in the corridor. Noah going to peek on over and grab that kill over onto Astro, so the man count even more heavily is falling in Unnamed's favour. PX looking to do something here on Laundry Stairs and maybe peek on in up into Meeting, just trying to get anything that he can for his team, but a couple of holes have been opened, but not enough to open the hatch onto Laundry. So again, looking pretty good for Epsilon to try and hold this, but it's all going to be about how the pressure comes through now from Unnamed. And there it is, Tank Ninjas with a kill onto Madman. Shermie trading it straight back out with a kill of his own onto Cactus, but at 4 versus 2, it is looking good for Unnamed. Madman has left as well, so it does look like we are going to see a full rehost. Shermie now waiting inside of Supply. He's very aware of the pressure that's coming through from the attackers, and it is going to be Tank again with Blackbeard's face shield picking up that kill. PX peeks into the corridor and gets a full visual over onto the Zephyr of Jugger, but he's left all alone in the closet. Jugger grabbing that final kill, and well, Unnamed took full advantage of the unfortunate circumstance we found ourselves there for Epsilon, bringing it back to 5-5. But it does seem as though we have both of the players that did disconnect back into the lobby. So that is always going to be a good thing. We aren't going to have to suffer a full disconnect. and really brought themselves back into the fight. As if they'd have allowed Epsilon to get themselves onto match point, it could have been looking very, very differently indeed. Good spread of kills there from both teams. Cactus there maybe just struggling, sitting on 2 and 3, 2 kills, 3 assists, but not always all about the kills, especially when you're playing an operator like Capital. Those asphyxiating bolts are going to be doing the business for your team.
Yeah, an absolute battle on our hands here. 5 apiece coming into round number 11. Who is going to get that match point opportunity? Epsilon had themselves plenty ahead on this one, but Unnamed have got themselves onto the attack, and we're seeing Oregon really favour the attacking sides at the minute today. So this is a big round coming up now. Unnamed, I'm sure, going to want to really stake a claim here. I think whoever gets onto match point really gives themselves an advantage because they've got that opportunity of a round on the same side, attacking or defensive wise, to finish things off. And I'm sure nobody is going to want to go to overtime here and have that gamble of what happens then.
And it will be a gamble indeed, because we've seen both of these locations swing in either way for both teams. So there's no clear-cut way on how it is going to play out. I think Epsilon maybe have defended upstairs a little bit better than Unnamed have so far. But all can change, especially when it comes to overtime. And we see another shift around. Jugger finding himself over in small office. I did think he was going to go up onto the little small office window and peek on through. Look at that Claymore and air jab placement, just trying to bait somebody into the Claymore there. Tank Ninjas on the other side of the map is going to be opening up with kill onto Astro down at the bottom of White Stairs. So no more goo mines from the Legion. He will have only got time there to dish out maybe 3. So a large loss of utility early on. And again, looking very, very good for Unnamed. Ping comes out from Tank Ninjas. He's aware that somebody's playing downstairs at the bottom of tower, and he has trained himself on the window. Not sure if he is going to find that kill. I think Kendry maybe is in hot pursuit of the player over in tower. Meanwhile, Jugger is going to be able to get himself into Armory and establish himself on that long angle on the corridor and try and cut off any rotation from meeting that this player in tower may be looking to do. So it is going to be Blur over on the dock. And I think his rotation is largely cut off now, so if he can take somebody with him, he will have done a good job, but the pressure will be mounting from either side. Air jab now in the usual spot, just outside of Kid's door, and Jugger waiting, trying to get a bit of payback maybe, as he did fall victim to that air jab earlier on.
Moving.
And there it is, the air jab is going to come through. Jugger did see a bit of pressure there from Attic, but Madman peeked out of Kid's door and fell into the air jab. PX did grab a kill as a trade and a second. Look at that for a fine angle from PX over onto Noah. Can't make it a third though, as Kendry is going to cut him down from double window. Top of Armory, not double window. Another player playing over on double window, but all of a sudden looking pretty good at this point for maybe Unnamed to get a plant down, as we are going to hear the Capital bolts go off, and the top of White Stairs is going to be cut off as a rotation. Kendry just holding an angle through the smoke. Shermie is going to grab one onto Jugger, bringing it 2 versus 2. Shermie is very lit, but he does manage to find one onto Kendry. Cactus now has it all to do. 1 versus 2. Picks the first one up, making it a 1 versus 1. Blur in the attic now has to retake onto the site. Cactus isn't in the best position here. He's playing very, very tight to the diffuser. He's not really got a lot of option to rotate and move off this, but I don't think Blur is working on any information whatsoever. We've got a beautiful heads down view of how this is going to play out, and it is going to be Blur that finds that kill. He is going to finish Cactus off with the knife and hit that diffuse.
How about that then, Blur? Using those abilities. Again, I've said it already, we've had some fantastic examples throughout this map of the operator gadgets in action, winning rounds, winning gunfights. That time Blur gets himself juiced up using the Doc's ability and uses that extra health to give himself the advantage, get in and win that gunfight against the Capitao. As you said, X left himself in a tricky position, hard on the diffuser there, but he also had very, very little option in terms of where to go. So that's going to bring us match point to Epsilon. So this will either be a draw or overtime at this point, I think.
Yeah, it is going to look like, you know, overtime could be a thing. I think Unnamed are going to really push to take this to overtime. Epsilon deserved that last round. It was a fantastic clutch that came out there from Blur. Are we going to see him 6-pick out of the Vigil this time? I do believe we are. Is he going to go over onto his Cade operator that he has seemed to favour so far, especially when defending downstairs in Laundry? Tank Ninjas this time going for the Ying. So way back in round 1, I did say a Ying would be good for pushing down Laundry stairs. And if Tank Ninjas uses the Ying to push down Laundry stairs, it could open a lot of options in terms of removing the electric law, getting a kill, and just making the defenders feel uncomfortable. Because so far, it seemed as though the defenders are very comfortable to defend this rear push by purely turning the back toward Laundry. And that's not really something that you can allow yourself as an attacker to give up to the defenders and to put them in that position of comfort. So I'd like to see the Ying used to really try and brute force and push down those Laundry stairs and act as a bit of an opener. And at this point, Unnamed have really got not a lot to lose. They're looking pretty good. They won the first game. They won the first map over on Clubhouse. This is match point for them. I think they'd probably be happy with a draw here. It has been a very close game on Oregon, but I do believe that Ying could be the difference. I do believe that this could go to an overtime.
Heading into the action phase, then we are at the sharp end. This is where decisions are going to be made about what happens with this game. We're going to see some early pressure applied towards that main lobby area. But how about that? That could be an unfortunate team kill. Jugger just hitting a headshot onto Tank Ninjas. Blur and Shermie picking up 2 for themselves. 1 for Astro very quickly in a 1 versus 5, and everything has fallen apart for Unnamed. Jugger has it all to do, and he won't do any of it, as his only option is to try and withstand. Madman moves in, gets the knife kill, and finishes things off for Epsilon. That will be a share of the spoils and a draw for these two teams, Unnamed and Epsilon, in CCS Week 4.
I think a draw is a very fair result. Epsilon certainly deserved to win on Oregon. They did play very, very well indeed. I mean, Unnamed played well as well, but as the game fell, I think